For March's edition of All Access Belize. We want to welcome you to wonderful Belize. We're having you live through us. I'm David Kafka, and I am coming from Mahogany Bay Village, the Hilton Beach Resort. And we have Sandra and Evan coming from Hopkins.
Hello.
And so, we thank you for joining us, Sandra and Evan. And basically, I wanted to we have a good group today, and I wanted to just kind of give you a little introduction of myself for those of you that are new. But I'm David Kafka. I am the broker owner of Hrysaks, First Choice Belize, and the manager of Caribbean Capital Group, where we help high net worth investors invest passively in real assets here in Belize. And I moved here a little over 11 years ago. And so I'm here to help you collapse timeframes so you can have your slice of paradise as well and don't have to go through the whole learning curve that I had to do, or Sandra and Evan had to do. So they're with me today, and what we'll do is we'll have them kind of give us their story, and then we'll go right into answering your questions. So Sandra and Evan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Sandra Hrysak, and this is my husband, Evan. We are currently the Hopkins Hrysaks First Choice team. We've worn a lot of different hats in our lifetime and a lot of different hats here in Belize. Our story is not your traditional, I want to live in the tropics, I love everything about the tropics. It actually started with House Hunter International. So we had family that were on vacation in Hawaii, saw an episode of House Hunter International, and they focused on Belize, specifically the Hopkins area. So they came down, they visited, they fell in love, they said, yeah, check it out. We bought property here, come check it out. We came down in June of 2013, completely fell in love, decided, okay, we're early 30s, we're gonna live in the tropics, and sold everything up and moved to Belize, and it has been the most amazing adventure for the past 6 years.
So we started a construction company called Royale International. That was our main business that we started down here first. And we do everything from building houses, clearing land. We have a custom wood shop. We do metal fabrication. We have our own block yard to make concrete blocks. We have compressed earth blocks, like an eco block. So we have expanded that into many different facets. And we also started an ambulance company down here as well. That came forth from having a friend of ours have a massive heart attack and realize that there's nobody to call. So we decided that if you see a niche, you should fill it. So that's what we did. And we started an ambulance service called Southern Emergency Services. And we have a 24/7, 365 ambulance service down here that services the Placencia Peninsula, Hopkins, Punta Gorda, all the way to Belmopan. So in the past 6 years, we have started 2 businesses, and now Hrysaks is our third. So we hope that it will be just as fun and wild and crazy as the first 2.
Yeah, we're happy to have you as well. And I also, I own a gift and art shop here in Mahogany Bay. And tell us a little bit about some of the things I bought from you, because it's so cool, some of the epoxy stuff that you do.
Yeah, we are the authorized epoxy dealer in Belize. We do art resin as well as those river tables you see on YouTube and TV. We make those. We do custom furniture, all kinds of things. We try and do a little bit of epoxy in every little project we do, just to give everybody that little custom feel. We also do projects where if you want to be involved with your table build, We will welcome you into our wood shop. You will get dusty and dirty and sand and plane, and you'll get to pick the colors of your epoxy and pour it. And then you get to help finish it as well. So it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. But we love seeing the people's faces and knowing that they've put their little touch on their project.
Very good. Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it was some beautiful stuff when I was at your shop.
Thank you.
And as far as broker owner of Hrysaks, we're definitely happy to have Sandra and Evan and their expertise and their good. I love working with people who give back. My heart is in the Humane Society, so that's what I do to give back. And they do some volunteer work for the Humane Society as well. And then, of course, the ambulance service. So thanks very much for joining us, Sandra and Evan. And so we'll kind of go into some questions. As soon as you want, y'all can just start, answering some questions, and we'll go ahead and just start answering them. I'll take some. Sandra and Evan will take some. And if you stump us, we're not going to lie. We'll tell you that we don't know, and we'll get back to you on it with April's All Access Belize. And until we get any questions,
yeah, hey, David, while we're waiting, I have questions that was pre-submitted about starting companies in Belize, since you guys are both or have some experience in that. There were some questions about how to set up a company, if there are any different regulations they needed to know about, tax information, etc. Do you have some basics or direct them to right place about where to start a business in Belize?
So it depends on where you're at. There's more regulations in some places than in other places. When I started Hrysaks in Placencia and Hopkins, it was just a matter of, I already had my residency then, or a work permit then, and then residency. So I didn't have to worry about that. But it was just making sure you're registered with the tax department, you have your Belize LLC, and then you're good to go. As far as like in San Pedro or in a town or city, you'll have to have like a trade license. In villages and things like that, we don't have trade licenses. So you don't have to have one in Placencia, but for my art shop in San Pedro, you have to have a trade license, and that gets renewed every year. Anything else I wanted to add, Sandra, Evan?
It does depend a little bit what type of business you're doing as well, what the regulations are from the government level. The regulations for our ambulance business are very different from the construction side, but both are, once you understand the process and understand the government offices, they're both very simple.
Yeah, very good. And again, reach out to us. Sarah will give you our contact info. And again, I want to introduce you to Sarah. She's our magic. She's working in the background. And so we thank you, Sarah, for helping us. She's kind of managing the questions and answers in the chat box. So for your questions, make sure you put them in the question and answer, because I can't do more than 2 things at once. So I won't be looking at the chat box. But Scott asked about, interested in hearing about managed rental property opportunities in Placencia. So I guess, as y'all know, COVID has kind of, taken a hit for the tourism business. The latest numbers that have come out for the BTB, for the Belize Tourism Board, is we're running around 15 to 20% occupancy rate for the country of Belize. So it's taken a hit. There's always opportunities though, and and if you have the ability to kind of withstand or this pandemic, and to where we can, you can build the business up again once people, get the vaccine, if you want the vaccine, or people start feeling comfortable about traveling. The opportunities are still there. You just have to, navigate it. Some places are doing better than others. I know here at Mahogany Bay, because it's a Hilton, it's a branded resort, they're running around 30, 35% occupancy. And I think that's, because of the brand. Just like Hrysaks, we're doing phenomenal in sales right now. And I think it's because the brand helps people feel comfortable with it. So there's definitely some opportunities there. How protracted is the process to gain citizenship in Belize? It's very easy. It just takes time. So you have to be here a year without leaving the country for more than 14 days. When you do that, you are eligible to apply for residency. Once you go through the residency process, you will get your residency. And then once you're here for 5 years, you can become a citizen. You don't have to be living here for 5 years, but as long as you have residency for 5 years, you can then go to, you can go to nationalization. Sandra, what are y'all are permanent residents? Or have you gotten your nationality yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we're just permanent residents.
Okay. So you to get my residency because I wanted a plan B, as Simon Black talks about. I wanted a place where, you can't make me go back to the US if I don't want to. So that's kind of, the reason why I got it. Can you tell us about the vibe of different areas of Belize, Ambergris Caye, Placencia, Hopkins? So I can tell you about Placencia and Ambergris Caye, and then we'll let Sandra and Evan talk about Hopkins since that's where they're at. The vibe in Placencia is, I can't say enough about Placencia. It's such an awesome place to be. It's very, you're accepted no matter who you are, what you do, your social background, your economic background, your ethnic background. And that's pretty much the same in Ambergris Caye as well. Ambergris Caye is more of it's the #1 tourist destination, and then Placencia and Hopkins will, probably be 2 and 3. But San Pedro is Ambergris Caye is a little bit more busier, but the vibe is still cool. And then Placencia is not as busy, especially right now, but it's a little more laid back, and it's just cool. Yeah, they're all cool. And what about Hopkins?
Hopkins is a lot more chill than anywhere else we've ever been on vacation. We've been to Placencia and we've been in Hopkins, and it's more of an if it happens, it happens attitude. If it doesn't, well, tomorrow's another day. It's more just a relaxed, laid back fishing village type, listen to the drums, watch the beach kind of place. There isn't as much infrastructure as there is in Placencia and San Pedro. And for that reason, it stays sort of in the past. It's not 21st century, we'll put it that way. Hopkins is a little bit laid back. It's not for everybody. It has its ups and downs, but we like it because it makes us slow down. It forces us to do that, which is what we came here to do. And then we started 3 businesses.
Yeah, it's funny when we get clients here, and I'm sure y'all experience it too, guys. People from like California, New York, it's like they have a culture shock because it's like, they're used to just going. And here, it's been mañana mentality.
Exactly.
They tell you they're coming Tuesday. They just don't tell you which Tuesday they're coming. So, it's something you have to get used to. But again, it's a trade-off, right? It's so much nicer than North America. I'm sorry. I love the US. I've never been to Canada, but I love, the Canadian friends that I've met. So it is what it is. Is it beneficial, Susie's asking, to start a bookkeeping business, and which area is best? I already have one in California and would like to expand in Belize. Susie, my bookkeeper doesn't even live in Belize. She lives in Texas. So you could live in Belize and still have clients, all over the world. And you'd be working from home. So you really wouldn't have to have a work permit unless you're physically going out and going to businesses. If people are just sending you stuff, you'd be fine. A lot of people have their in-house bookkeepers. I think y'all have one, right, Sandra? Haven't?
That's me.
Yeah. Okay. You're the bookkeeper. Do some stuff, but I don't, I have my bookkeeper do, and she balances the checkbooks for all of our companies and reconciles them. And so you don't have to be in Belize to be a bookkeeper, but it is, it is an option. So Don is asking, interested mostly in real estate prices, rental costs of houses, and Ambergris Key. So Don, if you send me an email, Sarah will put a, in the chat box, and I will send you, I have I'm interested in even to the website and download my cost of living guide. And I think my we're having some internet connection. I apologize for that. So if I'm lagging, Sarah, just let me know, and I might just turn off my video. My cost of living guide talks about everything from insurance to food costs to rentals and things like that. Insurance prices, rental cost is a pretty variety, depends on, we have stuff for, we have lots in the less than $20,000 range, $8,000 range, and Corozal. We have a guy in Corozal. We have some in Hopkins that Sandra and Evan have for under 20,000. And then we go all the way up to millions of dollars, depending on what you want. So it's really, depending on your, what we call your needs, your wants, and your desire. And then we, just take it from there. I'll touch on, there's no organized MLS system. So it's not like you go to one system and you plug in what you want and you get all the properties here. We do ask you to work with just one agent. Don't have like 10 or 15 agents working for you doing the same job, because we are, paid by commission. So pick an agent, whether it's us or, another company, but pick one that will show you all, no matter who listed with. And, they will search all the company's properties that are on the market based on your criteria. And that's kind of, how we do it here. And then we can represent you no matter who it's listed with. So Matthias, good to see you, sir. Any news about traveling with a vaccine? Do you still need a negative COVID test? It's supposed to be coming out that if you have a COVID test or a vaccine, you do not need the COVID test. I'm not 100% sure. It's do y'all know if it's
March 2nd it came out.
March 2nd it came out.
It's already active.
Okay, so it is active. So if you have the vaccine, you do not need any COVID tests going or coming, depending on, where you're traveling from. So you're good to go. The curfew is still 10 o'clock. We still have, if you do not have the vaccine, you still have a 96-hour negative PCR test or a 48-hour rapid test and to come here. And you do want to stay at a gold standard hotel, which most hotels are. So Tim's asking about construction equipment, tax and duty. Where's the best place to buy? So let's ask the construction people.
It depends kind of what construction equipment you're looking for. Heavy equipment, bulldozers, excavators. There is basically only one place to buy a brand new excavator in Belize, and that is the Caterpillar dealership. You can find a lot of used equipment, secondhand equipment here. The duty to bring stuff in on heavy equipment is 30% duty. So whatever the purchase price is, plus 30%, plus shipping, plus GST, environmental, all of that stuff on top of it. It is not cheap to bring equipment into this country. They want you to buy it here. Tools for construction companies, like building houses, that stuff is all readily available in the country. There's no need to bring it in. You can get brand name tools at many different places in Belize City, Spanish Lookout, Dangriga even, which is close to Placencia and Hopkins here. There's no need to bring that stuff into the country. We get name brands like Milwaukee, Makita, DeWalt, Hilti, all of that kind of stuff. So there's no need to bring that stuff in. You can purchase it here.
And a lot of these places do run pretty decent sales once a year. And it is, there are some places that, will sell, things. There's a place on the highway by Old Belize that sells used equipment. And there's always these Facebook groups that sell used equipment as well. But you can also, buy it at auctions in the States, or North America, and like they said, you do have to pay the duty on it and the environmental tax and things like that. Darrell is asking, is there something where the government of Belize states that if you can demonstrate that you have approximately $2,000 a month in your bank account, that you can benefit from being able to retire? That is the Qualified Retirement Program. Do y'all want to touch on that?
Sure. The QRP program, if I'm not mistaken, is for those who are 45 years of age and older. You have to show that you have income coming in from out of country in excess of $2,000 per month. There are some benefits to the program in that, now correct me if I'm wrong, David, when we had family members coming in QRP, they were able to bring in household goods tax exempt for their household, in addition to a boat and a vehicle duty and tax exempt as well, as long as they maintain their QRP status.
Correct. You can bring in a boat, a car, a plane, all that, plus your household goods duty free. I know some people who went to BTB, and who the BTB is the Belize Tourism Board. They're the one that manages the QRP. And they have, sorry, I lost my train of thought. They have gone to the BTB and said that, hey, I'm not bringing in a boat. I'm not bringing in a plane. Can I bring in 2 cars? And they have been allowed. The cars do have to be like 3
years old.
They can't be over 3 years old.
Be older. Okay, over 3 years old. And I know you do get to renew that every so often and get to have one duty free. So Scott is asking, Evan and Sandra, who are from Canada. Yes, they're from Canada. They're interested in hearing about your immigration. Do you pay taxes in Belize, Canada, or both? And do you still have investments and income in Canada?
So the short answer to all of that is yes. We do earn income in Belize that we are taxed on here. We also pay income taxes on the Belizean earned income in Canada. We still have RRSPs, bank accounts, investments. We have a registered phone and address in Canada, even though we don't have a physical residence that we own. We pay our taxes, we pay healthcare, we pay everything so that we're still considered Canadian citizens. We have the same rights as a citizen. We just don't live in Belize, or we don't live in Canada, sorry.
Okay, very good. Those of you who are American citizens, I still pay taxes in the US. I still pay taxes in Belize, but because I live out of the US, I'm allowed an exemption. Every year it's different. Last year was over $105,000 that I'm allowed to make tax-free. $1 credit for the Belize taxes paid, and I get to use all my deductions. Belize has a flat tax system, and it's on your gross. So if you made $100 and your net profit was $20, you're still paying tax on $100. You don't get any deductions except for a few donations that you make. So we are, from North America, you still have to, pay taxes on worldwide income. So Timmy's asking about kids and schools and their social life. Looking at San Pedro. Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of expats that are living here. There's a lot of expats with kids. A lot of them are either homeschooled or let's say they go to a private school. My son goes to a public school here. He's 8. My 23-year-old, she is and when she turned 18, she moved back. It's definitely a cool place for kids because they get to live in the environment. They get to see how fortunate they are. It is how I saw it with my daughter. When Serena was, when we moved here, she was 11. She saw how kids were so happy. They weren't, glued to their TVs or glued to their game, playing with and like that. So it's definitely cool. There's still, there's a lot of things to do for kids, especially if you want to get them involved in, there's shelters, women's shelters, and, there's some where you can tutor kids and things like that. So there's definitely a lot that you can do as a family. Is there a way of minimizing the high taxes imposed upon bringing property and vehicles into Belize when moving into retirement in Belize? Yes, Daryl. So like we talked about just a few minutes ago, the QRP, it is, as long as you are $2,000 per person, no, it's per household. As long as it's $2,000 per household a month, you can retire here. And then you are allowed to bring in your stuff duty free. Is Mahogany Bay Village open for tourists? Yes, it is. That's where I'm bringing this webinar to you from. I am the sales manager here at Mahogany Bay, and we are open. We're running around, we got probably later this week, we have over 100 people on campus. So we're running around 20–30% occupancy, and we're getting up there. We opened in December, and we were sold out. We had a couple hundred people here for Christmas and New Year. So it's definitely open. And the COVID guidelines, we talked about a few minutes ago, if you have the COVID test or if you have the COVID vaccine, there is no testing. You just have to wear a mask. There is a mask mandate, and there is a curfew at 10 o'clock. And then there is, if you don't have the COVID vaccine, then you have to have a PCR test 96 hours before you get here, or a 48-hour on a rapid test. Is the internet in Emergency good quality? I work from home, so that would be important. Yes, Timmy, that is, there is good, normally there's good internet here. We do have, like at Mahogany Bay, we have fiber optics. But for some reason, it seems to be lagging a little bit. I don't know if it still is, but we do have good internet. You can get as much as you want. And if you want to, you can check out the BTB, or not BTB, I'm sorry, it's BTL. I think Sarah can throw that in the chat box. She can look it up, but if you go to BTL at the internet, you can see the speeds. I know you can get speeds up to 50 meg per second. And like pretty much all of our work is done online. So it's, we need the good internet. Also, Sarah has a poll that she'll put up. We have like 2 polls today, and we'd like for y'all to answer. And if whoever answers, we'll put you in a drawing, and you will win a book, which is a book that I co-authored, or I'll give a new book that Kyle Wilson did, which is Success Habits of Superachievers, that was written with over 40 people. One of those was Darren Hardy, and I meant to bring a copy of it. But I'll send you a winner. And then here's the poll right now. And then we'll throw up the other one a little later. So what are the rules with home ownership in Belize? Do we own our property, or do we lease it from the government? Yes, Marilyn, that's a great question. Belize is one of the few countries, or one of the countries, where you have complete ownership of the property, just like a local or a Belizean. So you have full title ownership, just like in North America. It's not like Mexico, where it's a fideicomiso, or you have to own it with a local or anything like that. It's totally, full title ownership. If you're a Belizean, you can lease government land and then go through the process to buy it. So thank you for that question. Callie, looking to purchase a multi-unit and live in one and rent other. There are businesses that would run the property until then. Yes, there is. We do have long-term and short-term people that will rent those out for you. We have 3-plexes, 4-plexes. We have some, some larger ones. There's not a lot. There's a few under construction, And it depends on what clientele you're going for. You're going for employee housing, local housing, or you're going for an expat or a nightly rental or things like that. But you do have management companies. A typical management fee would be 10%, I think, of a long-term renter, and then it would be anywhere between 20 to 50% for short-term rentals, and they would take care of everything as far as bookings, cleaning, upkeep, things like that. Where are the challenges of living off grid? Do you have any suggestions for someone who has purchased a lot that doesn't offer services? I plan to be 6 to 8 months a year at first before retiring. Man, we have Tesla batteries here now. And I don't know if Sandra and Evan want to touch on this, but I'll take a stab at it. I don't think there's a lot of challenges other than if you want AC, you got to make sure that you have the battery capacity and we definitely have the sun for off-grid living. And we have enough rain for your water. You would just do rain catchment is what a lot of the people do. They would build cisterns in their foundation or put up, these big cisterns. And then if you happen to run out, there's always people that will bring you some water. Sandra, Evan, do you have anything to add to that one?
No, yes, like David said, solar it has come a long way in the last 3 or 4 years with the introduction of Tesla in the country here. That is a tried and true tested brand. It is not cheap, but you pay for what you get, and the quality is there. To have that type of quality here is amazing, because there's a lot of places in Canada where you can't get a Tesla system, and it's not going to work for you like it would here. Like David said, we get so much sun that a solar system is very worthwhile if you're looking for off-grid living. Yeah,
good, thank you. The QRP is the 2,000 a month is US currency. Pretty much everything in Belize is US currency, including real estate. But when we talk things like food or taxi ride, things like that, we'll talk in Belize money. Funny you mentioned tutors. That is what I do in Canada. Is there much of a market for tutors? Yeah, I think so, especially with COVID. And I know people that actually tutor a lot of like Chinese residents in China, teach them English. So there's definitely, with what's going on with COVID, we're still not in school yet. They're talking about opening schools next year, but there's still going to be a lot of people not 100% sure about sending their kids. So definitely, I think there's an option for tutors for kids. Tim's asking, getting equipment fixed, not heavy equipment, but small engine, car and truck, easy or difficult. I'll talk about a little bit, and then Evan can add to it. I think it's pretty easy. I buy my vehicles from a dealership and I just take it to them to get it fixed. Evan talked about one of the places where you can buy, small engine stuff and equipment. I buy my weed eaters and things like that from Universal, and they have a maintenance facility. So I have to take it to Belmopan, but there is definitely places there that will fix it. And then there's always places wherever you're at that can fix it, whether it's, Hopkins, Placencia, San Pedro, Corozal. There's always somebody that can fix something.
yeah.
And what do y'all do for,
We have an in-house mechanic. We actually employ a mechanic who does 90% of all our repairs, as well as myself. But if there's something electronic that's beyond our scope, there's still access to those things here, like to check the codes in your check engine light and stuff like that. there are lots of people that have those code readers here, lots of mechanics around that will come and do that for you as well. So it's not impossible to get anything done.
Good, thank you. Hey, Linda, how are you, ma'am? Thanks for asking your question and thanks for joining us. Linda's soon to be resident and she's asking where Evan and Sandra are from. And they do not have kids, but where are y'all from again, Sandra, Evan?
We are from Alberta, just outside Edmonton, a city called Spruce Grove. And ironically enough, when I was right out of school, high school, I did train as a special education teacher, and I did work a year in one of the schools in our neighborhood, so in City River. I can speak to the education system from the standpoint of an educator, which might help those that have children that they're contemplating putting through the Belize public school system.
Beautiful.
As far as Canada goes, I can't speak to the States, but as far as Canadian schooling goes, it is not par, but it's not far off. So the grading system is slightly different. Children here start when they're younger. They start at 3 years of age. I know in Canada you need to be 5. That being said, by the time they get to what down here is called standard 6, so that would be Canada grade 8. On scale, they would be probably grade 6, grade 7, depending on the child. So it's slightly behind the Canadian system, but there is a lot of advantages in my mind to the public system down here in that, just like Canada, a second language is mandatory. You learn Spanish, you learn history, you learn culture, you learn all of those things that you can't learn if you're homeschooling a program that's designed out of the country. So there are places to integrate it, but for me personally, I like the public school system here.
Very good, thank you. Thank you for that, that's awesome, I didn't know that. Okay, so Marilyn, what are the disadvantages of living in Belize? I'll give you a couple that I feel I have, and then Sandra and Evan can maybe talk to some. I'm very pro Belize, so it's not that it's a disadvantage, it's just some things that I don't like. For instance, I'm a huge animal lover in Placencia, where I've spent most of my time. Now I live part-time in Placencia, part-time in San Pedro, but I recently just lost a couple animals and we don't have a vet, a full-time vet in Placencia. So to me, that's a disadvantage. So I think I could have saved, just or a weekend when they were off and I couldn't get the animals there. So that has been, kind of hard for me. Another one would be just some things take longer, especially when it comes to getting your title and things like that. It's not a disadvantage, I don't think. It's just a process, right? And as long as you know coming forward that, this is a process, then we just have to deal with it, and it is what it is. What about y'all? Y'all have any comments on that?
Not so much disadvantages, but I agree with you. There are certain things that we don't like, and veterinary medicine is definitely one of them. We came down here with 2 small dogs and we're foster failures over and over. We now, between work and home, have 7. So veterinary care is a thing. It's hard to get, it's inconsistent. Evenings and weekends aren't an option like they are in Canada. Mm-hmm. The other thing that is sometimes frustrating, sometimes you just learn to go with it, is grocery shopping. Ironically enough, we were very spoiled in Canada. You go to a grocery store, you get everything that you want in one place and you go home. Down here, you get used to where you can find the things that you like. So it might involve going to 4 or 5 different places just for grocery shopping. So we call it an outing. You don't just go to the store to pick up a couple things, you go on an outing because you're going to more than one place. So it's one of those things that can be frustrating to get used to, but once you're used to it, it's part of the charm.
Yeah, exactly. And let me tell you, when you see something you like, you better buy a few of them. So when we get all beef Oscar Mayer hot dogs, get like 4 or 5 of them because tomorrow they're going to be gone.
You buy them.
I love Olive Garden dressing, and there's one place here and I went 2 days later to get another couple bottles and it was gone. So definitely get it, you know. Darrell, there's some issues, some concerns in the media in the late throwing into question the overall safety of living in Belize. Please comment. I can definitely comment on that. If you look at, you know, per capita, Belize is probably one of the most dangerous countries to live in because we only have 405,000 people. So if you're looking at per 1,000 persons, you know, we put the numbers down. Last year in 2020, we had 120 murders. And if you look at the statistics on that, it was majority is domestic, gang, or drug related, okay? Majority of those are centralized in one area. I'm not even gonna say Belize City because all of Belize City isn't bad. I mean, I go to Belize City pretty often. I love Belize City, but there are certain areas of Belize City I won't go without carrying a gun, or there's some areas I won't go at all. But it's to me, I don't find it unsafe. I mean, you constantly see, you know, 4 or 5-year-old kid walking down the street going to the store by himself, maybe 6 years old. But you would never see that in North America. So I don't feel it's, you know, there's some petty theft, but you just have to be, you know, lock your car, lock your house, and you'll be fine. Do y'all want to echo anything on that, guys?
Yeah, you don't do anything different than you wouldn't do back home. You lock your car when you go to the grocery store, you lock your car when you go to the mall, you lock your house when you leave. You do the same thing here. There's no difference here versus there as for the safety of how we feel. We actually feel safer here because, like David said, per capita, there's only 400,000 people in the whole country. So, and 99% of that crime or safety issues you're going to feel are not centralized down here. They're in Belize City. So,
Or in parts of it.
or in parts of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So we feel really safe here. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Darrell's asking about power cost per month for a small house, 2 people and an AC versus solar. I don't know what the cost. I think a typical house with no AC for solar would get you probably around 25 to 30,000 US to set that up. Not 100% sure on that. I have a small house here, I think, in San Pedro. It's about 1,200 square feet. We have 4 AC units, and we run it most of the time. Our power bill is around 500 Belize, 600 Belize. My house in Placencia is about the same. It's a little bigger, but electric is 41 cents Belize per kilowatt hour. And the biggest cost of that would be the ACs. So anything that you can have as far as like your stove, your hot water heater, your gas dryer, you want, or dryer, you want those on gas, butane. And then only have the ACs and LED lights and things like that. But my 2 houses in Placencia and Hopkins runs around $400 to $600 a month, depending on the time of year, how much we open the windows and things like that. From an investment view, is it more profitable to build than buy an existing building? That kind of depends. You know, there's some people selling that you couldn't build the house for what it cost. And you know, I'll kind of probably have Evan answer that, and Sandra, because, you know, they are builders, but it just depends on the building and how it's finished and what kind of upgrades it needs and things like that. But why don't y'all take that one?
Yeah, it's like David said, it's you're going to run into both scenarios where sometime an investment is going to be, there's no way you could even build it for that price. Other times they're going to go, you're crazy, I could build 2 of them for that price. It's really tough depending on what you want, what you're after. Certain things cost more money. The average building price is in our area, in the Hopkins area, is about $110 to $125 a square foot US. So that obviously changes depending on where you are in the country. I know Placencia can run up to $200 US a square foot. I think San Pedro is actually cheaper. I believe it's between 120 and 135, somewhere in there, square foot. So it all depends what you want and where you want it will change that price. Yeah.
Very good. Kenneth is asking, do I work with Robert Helms at Mahogany Bay Village? I do. Matter of fact, he's here right now. He is one of the developers of Mahogany Bay, and I know him very well. I'm in his mentor group, and he's great to be a part of, and a great friend. He's here this week, so I'll get to spend some time with him, and then he goes back home for a couple days because his son has a 16th anniversary, or not anniversary, but birthday, and then they're coming back as a family. So get to see him quite a bit. What's the cost of a golf cart, new and used, and is it cheaper to buy in Belize or bring it in? I'm going to say it's cheaper to bring it in. I'm actually looking, a golf cart that I want, you want a club car, although the new Easy Goes have a aluminum frame, but the club cars are most abundant here. You can get a club car, you can get the parts here and things like that. But it's pretty cool. The one I'm looking at is around 4,000 US, and then you'll have to pay probably 35–40% duty, and it's like $1,200 to ship it. A brand new golf cart here, if you get the Onward, it's going to run you around 20,000 Belize, which is 10,000 US. So I don't know if that's cheap or not. You can get used ones here, good refurbished ones for probably 12 to 16,000 Belize dollars. But I think I'm going to bring one in because mine is a 02, and I need to get a new one. The exchange rate for the US and Belize is 2 to 1, and it does not fluctuate. It's pegged 2 to 1. So 1 US dollar gets you 2 Belize dollars. Do I consider MBV to be a good investment? I do. I'm actually working on I can't really say because it's a security exchange violation. So I do think it's a very good investment, especially some of the products. Some of the products are better than some of the other ones, and happy to take that conversation offline. And I can kind of run through kind of what's going on at MBV. We do have some resales that people are wanting to get out because of divorce sale, or they've owned it from the beginning, and they've realized their gain, and they're just ready to invest in something else, especially some of the earlier investors that have been around for a while. So I do feel it is. We are seeing a pinch because of COVID. We're not running, 80–90% occupancy like we were with 300 people on site like it was before COVID. Is the government of Belize moving towards becoming more automated and being able to pay property taxes from other countries? We own property and wonder what the easiest way to pay our taxes. Yeah, they are moving toward that. You have to have an account number. I've just actually saw it. I don't know how to do it. I still pay taxes. If you reach out to me, I need to pay my taxes. I normally pay a couple years at a time, so I don't have to worry about it every day. But we have runners that do that for us. $40, and the fee to pay the taxes is more than the tax itself. But we can have that done for you. So if you reach out to me, I'm happy to get your taxes paid for you. Is it hard to obtain a firearm? And the restrictions like in Canada? You have to have a permit, and I just wrote a paper probably about 6 months, 8 months ago. You can have a firearm here if you have a permit, and you just have to apply for it, and depends on what kind you want. They just don't hand it out just to hand it out. You have to have a reason. I do have one because I travel a lot. I have the highest permit, which is a special protection, which I can carry concealed pretty much wherever I go. And I also filled out the ATF paperwork, so I can carry it on the plane and carry it with me in the States. I don't carry a lot, but sometimes I do if I'm, doing certain activities or traveling, just because I go to places where there's no cell service and things like that. I'm not really worried about, what's going to happen. I'm more worried about, something else like an animal or something like that. But there are some permits for hunting. You can have a permit for hunting, and there's some heirloom permits that you can get for people. Like I know a lot of my clients are collect handguns, and they want to bring their collection here. There is a process for that. There's a fee for that, and you have to take out the firing pins to make it inoperable. So there is a process for that, but yes, you can obtain one. Let's see. I want to purchase a property now and build in 2 years when I retire. Yes, that's what a lot of people do. They purchase now. The carrying is nothing. Your property taxes are next to nothing. I pay $27 for my house in Placencia, and I pay $130 Belize. This is for my house in San Pedro. So definitely, you could do that. I would say you'd want to be here, but yet we do have some builders like Sandra and Evan. I have some builders in Placencia, and I have some builders here in San Pedro that I'm totally confident in building, because they know they get the bulk of our work. And if they mess with our clients, we're going to go somewhere else. And so they will, do our clients very good. We typically build probably, 5, 6, 7 houses a year for clients, where we kind of manage it for them. We take pictures, we kind of hold escrow for them and things like that. So that's definitely something we can do. And what do y'all think, Sandra, Evan, about building and like that?
Yeah, definitely. It's obviously an investment that you have to be not taken lightly, but that's where a brand and that trust comes in, like Hrysaks. It makes you feel more comfortable knowing that someone has your best interest at heart. That's as a construction company, that's what we take. We try and provide at all times. We take great pride in our work. We don't accept mediocre work. If it's not done to my satisfactory, it's torn out and done again at my cost, because I have a reputation to uphold. So it has to be something that I would be happy with to give it to someone else. So we take great pride in our work. So it's something that we would like to offer through Hrysaks as well.
Yeah, and we touched on it earlier about Belize being a small country, and Evan touched on it that because this is a small country, the only thing we have is reputation. So that's why we work so hard to make sure our clients are happy and we do good for them, because that's all we get. And it takes a lifetime to build a reputation, a good reputation. And I mean, we just got a couple bad reviews on Google, and it just dropped our rankings down because somebody wasn't, they didn't have the right expectations, and we just couldn't make them happy. So it's definitely, you definitely need that reputation. We're getting close to the end, and I love all these questions. I'll answer a couple of them pretty quick. The electricity was Belize money. The ocean air on computers is pretty rough. That's why I kind of run, not just computers, all electronics. That's why I run the air as much as I can to keep that out. And Placencia, I live on the canal. And so I try to get as much as I can, keep that air out. David's asking about where you'd buy a gun. There's a few places here that you can buy a gun. A Czechoslovakian gun that was made. It's called a CZ, and I paid $2,400 Belize for that. And there's 125% duty for a gun. Definitely, you know, you want one, you know, that, you know, you can buy one here. Darrell, why don't you reach out to me and I can help you on that Progresso Heights property. And would you come up to, Tim, would you, or Evan, they're asking if you would come up to Corzall and build.
Well, never say never. Everything's a possibility, but it may not be cost effective because the Corzall is a fair hike from here. So traveling with building materials and everything, that's why we have our own block yard. We make our own blocks. That way we can control the quality of materials that we get as well, that we're putting into people's houses. So we would be transporting all of that stuff up there. The costs would be quite large, I believe, to do that. So probably would be beneficial to find a local builder.
Yeah, and I have a agent in Corzall, so if you reach out to me, he can probably, I hope you can hear me. It's saying my internet connection is unstable, but if reach out to me and I can give you Lincoln's number and email, and maybe he can help with that. The new international airport in San Pedro, let's not hold our breath on that one. I think it was a campaign promise, and I don't think it's going to happen. Electricity is 120. Sandra and Evans company, can I look you up? Got on late. Yes, their company is Royale.
Royale International.
Yeah, Royale International. And Linda, I can get it for you as well. You have my email address, so reach out to me. Sandra, Daryl is asking about comment on the marketability and the need for a mental health professional in Belize. Ooh, I like that question.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Absolutely, there's a need for mental health professionals, without a doubt. We have seen some PTSD in some of our own staff members, and unfortunately for us, the closest mental health professional is Belize City, so that's a 3-hour drive. So we do a lot of Skype meetings, we do a lot of in-house trainings on dealing with the job. So absolutely, hands down, that is one market that needs to be filled down here.
Yeah, exactly. That's, I totally agree to that. Guys, I hate to cut it off, but I want to be respectful of your time. Please tune in next month. I think it's going to be the 8th as well. But I'd love for you to come back and let's continue this. If you have questions, we can do it offline, or I'm happy to do these more than every once a month. But I do have another call I have to hop on, unfortunately, so I do need to cut it off. But please reach out. Thanks for joining, everyone. Sandra and Evan, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining me today. And then if you're interested in Hopkins, if you're interested in building in the southern part of Placencia or Hopkins, reach out to Sandra and Evan on Royale Belize. So thanks again, everyone, and y'all have a great night and stay safe. And sorry I didn't get all y'all's questions answered.